It is the July 24th edition of Woodbine Racing Live, which means my friend to the right has still a few months to get my Christmas gift.
Yes, yes. And you know what I would like to point out? Look at Jeff's tan. He went away for a couple of days up north to the Muskokas.
But you notice so pathetic about me? There's lots of things that are pathetic about me, but one of them is I was out in the sun very little, bright red, and it's already peeling.
I know. See, he sent me a picture of himself on the dock, you know, and I said, make sure you put on the sunscreen.
Yeah, that 100.
It's lovely. It's lovely. You actually have a lot of nice color.
Yes, well, thank you. Thank you. Jeff and Elisa with you here on this. Yeah, it was nice to get away, you know, and just get some fresh air. You actually forget how beautiful this province is.
Oh, and the Muskokas are gorgeous.
Yeah, it's really, really nice. And it's so quiet. Like, not to hear noise was something that I'm like laying in bed and I'm like, hey, it's like eerily silent.
No ambulances, no police cars, no fireworks, you know, no dogs barking, because he's on an island, your own island.
Own separate island. Well, that's where I do my probation. I'm secluded.
Good.
Speaking of fireworks, we had some fireworks this past Sunday here at Woodbine as favorites. They won a grand total of one race. I think the only favorite to win was Giant Teddy.
Right? Yeah, I mean, I think that both of us only had one winner on the Sunday program. There were different ones, but if you caught any of them, you should have been able to make a little bit of money, because you had Donnie's horse, so that was good.
That was, if you're going to get one, that's a good one to get.
That was the one to get, yeah.
And there's look at Munger won a couple, Abley won two, Johnny V won two, and Minchell won two. Jeez. And you know what? In the last race, Robert touched on this with Ez one. You know, it was such an unfortunate incident. And it's something that I think we forget about, is because naturally at the end of the race, you kind of ease up a little bit. And then sure enough, he gets in tight and he gets dropped. The horse is okay, but it sounds like S1's going to miss a couple of weeks.
Oh, that's a shame, you know, because he was riding a real high. But yeah, that happens. I guess kind of maybe you take your eye off the ball a little bit in the gallop out sometimes, and something can something bad can happen.
Unfortunately, S1 was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Just wasn't his fault. Just a bit of a bad luck situation. So in case you didn't join us for the Sunday action, you better have an excuse. Like, you better have like a doctor's note or something. But here we'll get to the Canadian presented by the Japanese Racing Association, and this was a really fun story to see ready for Shrill. You know, the fraction of this race, it went pretty much as we expected. They crawled, and this horse just simply out-sprinted.
Well, the other thing that was cool is that when I talked to Roger pre-race, he was pretty high on this girl, and you know, he also kind of said, don't be surprised if you see her up near the front end, but then he left it up to Emma to do whatever she wanted to do once the gates opened up. And what a great victory. I mean, just got up in time to get the win over Gimme Another. That was the South African mare that had come here for Ryan Munger and, of course, Graham Motion. But a great finish between these two.
And how about the train job done by Team Donnie McRae? Look at that finish right there. Got up the last jump to win by a head. Wow. How about the job that Donnie McRae did with Cruden Bay, the defending champion? He elects not to go into the prep, and he goes right into the stake. And Fraser was absolutely loaded, and he got out, and he just finishes up full of running here.
But then there's so much you have to think about. Beside having this horse ready to rock in a stake for the first start back since last August, you're a repeater in the race, obviously, too, because he won it last year. But there was a setback. There was an injury with this horse. So, you know, sometimes you get horses that get injured. They just don't come back the same. This one, they did a heck of a job with whatever injury he had, getting him back to 100%. And then, of course, performing like this under Fraser Abley. And you got a good price, too.
Yeah, he did. And a 98 buyer in the process, too. Beat a heavily favored horse from the Wesley Ward barn. I thought the Sherry DeVoe horse raced very well as well. That being Northern Invader, who raced well to finish in the second place spot. Now let's get to the plate trial. Gangster did not have the smoothest of journeys. I don't know if it would have made a difference or not, though, because the Ghost, Sedbury's Ghost, was pretty good on this day.
What's cool about Sedbury's Ghost was when you got a chance to catch up with the winning owner, who was also the winning breeder, and she only has 5 mares, and this is what she gets from one of them. And she's got a sibling to this one. Barb mentioned there's a sibling that she's got, a couple of siblings, I think, too. So Ryan Munger, of course, now sitting on a very live horse for this year's King's Plate. I still wouldn't discount Notorious Gangster. I mean, he ran a great race, and you know, he's got some gas left in the tank for sure for the next start out. Scorching was another nice surprise to finish on the third spot.
Now, going into the race, we thought that the boys would be better than the girls, but as it turns out, All of a sudden, No Time has tossed her hat into the equation for the King's Plate. She had a wide trip. She chased a faster pace on this day. And I think she got an 88 buyer for this process.
Well, we had the wrong Cassie, because the Cassie horses ended up finishing 1, 2, 3. And, you and I were on Shifty. Shifty ends up finishing in the second place spot. No Time gets the win, so Johnny V with the win with that one. And then Winterberry, a very good third, overcoming a lot of obstacles in her career. Most of them are mental issues, but she handled everything incredibly well to finish in the third spot.
It does sound like No Time will be going towards the plate, so that is great to see. I'm not sure who's going to ride, because I think Saratoga, it's Whitney Day, the same day that we run the plates. With Johnny V, it might be about what he has commitment-wise.
True,
down
but
there.
Mark can just pick up the phone and call anybody.
Well, and plus we have like 3 or 4 other stake races that day here too, right?
Oh, yeah, and Patrick could be open, right?
Yeah.
Because, the horse that they were going to race in the plate trial that Patrick was on ended up being a scratch.
Yeah. So could be some jockey movement going on there, and there's obviously a horse on the sidelines. Okay, Tom's Magic is going to come in. You've got Mancetti, who's going to train up to the race as well. You've got Donnie's horse off of a maiden win too.
William
so
T.
So you got a lot of moving parts still, and
and we have about 3 weeks left now.
Crazy.
3 weeks. Crazy.
This summer is just flying by. It is absolutely crazy as we take a look at the winning connections there in the winner's circle, and some hard work being given out right there. And Johnny V, always nice when he comes here to Woodbine. You know what I really like about Johnny too? He always stops to get his picture taken with the fans.
Yes.
That's everything.
You know what I saw? Speaking of fans too, you know what I saw that was really cool too is obviously everybody wants to get their picture taken with Johnny V, but when Emma came back after winning the stake, there were a whole bunch of people in the grandstand that were really giving her another round of applause.
She's a
it was pretty
favorite,
awesome.
Right?
She's a fan favorite, and like we said in the interview, it's nice to be back in the special winner circle
she's overcome
too.
a lot, to get there. That's a special
and
win.
And to do it for Roger is cool.
With that family that she's done so well with, right? So that's great too. Okay, let's start the clock here. We got to get down to business in here. We'll talk a little topics in here, and topic number 1, as you have 1 minute to touch on this. And producer Mike, he does listen to us from time to time.
Exactly. We gave him a subtle hint.
And we said we want to look at all the horses that have won 3 races so far this season.
Or at least our most winningest horses, right, of the season. And guess what? A couple of them are going to be back in action this week. One of them is racing today, and that's Gizmo's BFF, who's 3 for 4 so far this season. But Go-Kart Mozart, did you look quick? Is that horse in on Sunday?
Race 2 on Sunday.
All right, so that's good. That's the other Heritage Series race, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll see that Tiller horse for the Frank DiGiulio Jr. Back on the Sunday program. Hamlin raced on the weekend and didn't do badly. Grabbed the check. Maximum 50, of course, we just saw that horse win. He got claimed out of that race. And then Sloan Sky just won the other day, too.
And Sloan Sky was a professional maiden for the longest of time, and has been busy this year. 6 starts already this campaign, so might get a bit of a breather in there. But Go-Kart Mozart could become a 4-time winner. My question with Gizmo's BFF, and it's a nice little segue into this, is Gizmo's BFF missed a little time because of the quarantine issue. The comeback race, I thought she was just okay, and let's fire up the replay machine and take a look at some of the horses here that we're going to focus on coming up in race number 2, because you've got Addendum in here who's got the running shoes on. Tara had a nice winner the other day with a horse they bought off a digital sale, I think, if memory serves me correct.
That was on Saturday, and Ryan Munger was riding, and that horse, I think it came up from Gulfstream. Looked like it was beat and then came back on to get the win, so they have to be really pleased with that. But this horse looks to keep the barn rolling, and Addendum is the horse we're going to highlight for you, but Gizmo's BFF is in this race. So in the end, Addendum ends up finishing in the second place spot. The winner is Foolish Games. Now, at that time, the Tony Adamo barn was basically unbeatable. Now, we both agree that that barn's got kind of quiet lately, but you couldn't beat that barn at that stage in the game. And I just want you to look physically at the size of her, too. She's a big mare compared to the 4, which was Foolish Games, and compared to Gizmo's BFF. Like, doesn't she make them look like midgets? So in my mind, we've talked about this before, sometimes you find with these bigger horses, it takes them a while to get rolling, and she does kick in well here late. So now we're going from 3/4 of a mile to 7/8 of a mile. If we show the gallop out, I'm not sure if we show it here, but if you show the gallop out, there you go, she's up on top. She's going to have no problems, I think, going 7/8 of a mile here today. The barn's hot right now. I'm going to try and use, look at this, everybody's going to the 3. We're going to try and use the 3 to beat our buddy Gizmo's BFF.
Who might get the last laugh on us. It's quite possible, but I'm just thinking that maybe she's gone over the top a tad. It's possible, maybe not. And I think Addendum's going to run even better here today in terms of maybe some others that you might want to give some consideration to, how about Shamrock? Now, this horse won and then was scratched for a race on June the 19th. It was a vet scratch on July the 3rd. Now, Phil Hall, what do you make of his barn since coming out of quarantine? They've kind of slowed down a tad.
They weren't as fast coming back, say, as Krista Cole's or Debbie Rambis's. Debbie's and Krista's came back and won races right away, right? And then Phil, he took a little bit of time. But this Shamrock, I think you got to include this because, like you say, anytime you see Phil Hall with Cave Nichols, you got to play it. But guess who our buddy went to visit?
That is Robert with John, who's one of the owners of Cefalo, as a matter of fact. And Cefalo, Robert says, is ready to go. So hopefully John and his Blue Jay hat can keep the roll going for the Jays and keep the roll going for Cefalo as well. He's looking for career win number 10. Boy, horses are in the paddock already. They're here early.
Well, that one's really early.
Did they change post time on us? I mean, they don't get notified.
And you know what? Today, I don't know if I'd want to be here that early. It's really, really warm outside today. So again, the name of the game is to keep these horses really cool and keep hosing them down.
Okay, key.
Yeah.
The key to your heart, Elisa.
No, Jeff, let's not go there. But we could say key in the pick for. Oh, you got me.
As
I gotta take a break.
We're going to put together a pick 4 ticket. I'm not going to spoil it, but I will spoil it a little bit because we have keyed this horse on our tickets.
Yeah, Perfect Girl. You know, she breaks her maiden for $15,000. And who does she hook last year? Logistics. Logistics was the best horse on the program to play that day. That was a Cassie horse that was taking a big drop down in for $15,000. I think the horse was even claimed at that race, right? Came back to win that 15 claimer. So, now that we don't have to worry about the likes of Logistics, I think Perfect Girl is certainly the horse to beat. Now, you do have to take note, Rafi's going to pick up the ride here on this one for an injured S1 Flores, but that's cool because we know that he rides a lot of horses for this barn and lots of people looking at the 2 in the top spot. But there's a few people looking at the 8, including you and me, and that's Mrs. Hotshot. She has some good references. She also was in that Logistics race. She was the 3rd place finisher in behind Perfect Girl, and she came back in a 15 going 7/8 of a mile, and Magic Token was the winner that day. And now we find the stretch back out again to go 2 turns.
I think she's happier going around 2 turns.
Yeah.
So I think that's the key with that one. And Perfect Girl's going to be a low price there coming up in the 4th, and we'll see if that one is in fact victorious to start off the pick 4 segment. Let's get to our next topic. And right now, all the viewers are saying, enough of the chalk talk. Let's talk a little prices here. Can we get some prices? And you've got a bit of a price plate coming up for your race number 5. Now, Crumlin Trouble, I think will go off as the favorite. I think Ernie's got that right. But tell us about Ain't No Girly Girl in this race.
Well, first, Crumlin Trouble, they waited 30 days to bring this one back. Which
was actually a vet scratch for 40.
And was a vet scratch. Yeah, so there's a few things. Like you see a vet scratch and then the 30 days and you're coming back for the same price tag that you were claimed for. And it's not a barn that really claims a lot of horses. So I was like, I think I'll go to this price horse instead. So Ain't No Girly Girl is where I'm going. This is the Cititard trainee, 6-1 morning line. Watch the tote board, obviously. If we see that this horse is taking a lot of support, then I'm not the only one who's going to back this one today. But you get Fraser Abley in off of a great weekend. You get Sid, who, in the last month, things have really started to heat up for him. So I'll try to beat a horse like Crumlin Trouble with the 3 instead. And then I'll take a look at the 7 as well, Keys Flatter. Keys Flatter was in a 25 claimer back on June 21st. That was the first start back for this one. Pietro Moran was aboard, finished 3rd. Comes back here today, 2nd start off the layoff. Looks to be fitter, looks to be tougher, and Pietro Moran's back aboard.
And didn't have a great trip either, in that last race too. So hopefully a bit of a smoother journey here today, and that one might be able to upset the apple cart coming up in race number 5. But you are price shopping there with Ain't No Girly Girl.
Gotta find one, right?
Yeah, I've got one I think coming up in the next race that we're going to focus on here coming up in a couple of seconds. Let's get to a little Exacta talk now and see if we can't put together a decent ticket in here. So for the 6th, we've got 25,000 claimers, non-winners of 2. Now, I must admit, I was on Now as a Breeze, and now I've scratched onto a price play in here. But you, first of all, tell us about Worry Less.
Listen, I thought this horse had a great race last start out. And I know that, in the final stages, she got a little tired going 6.5. And today we're asking her to go 7. But it's a switch back from the turf back over to the main track. And, Ryan Munger got an opportunity to ride for Bev Chubb. That's a rare opportunity.
Yeah, Juan was on days.
Exactly, because Juan was on days. And now we go back with Juan, who does know the horse probably the best because, you know, he probably gallops the horse in the morning, works the horse in the morning as well. So I just thought I'd use this 5. And then the 4, Him to Her. Him to Her comes in off of a 3rd place effort in that 25 non-2 in the same race as Worry Less and get some extra ground to work with, and I think that extra ground is really going to be beneficial for Him to Her because this horse was closing late at 6.5 and now gets the added ground.
I'm going to work Moving to the Country. I like to stretch it on distance
you like
in
the
here.
Song.
Well, I love the song. And now we're going to stretch out to go 7/8 in here, and I think I get a nice little stocking trip in this spot, and we're going to get a bit of a number on that one. So let's Moving to the Country and get ourselves some peaches coming up in race number 6. We're only going towards Princess on a Mission. You can tell there's all kinds of different selections of that race. That just goes to show you what type of event that is. Especially now with Now Is a Breeze. You know, that horse will take a lot of money there in race number 6. Let's talk a little inner turf race action, shall we? Here, maiden 15,000 clambers going a mile and a 16th. Do you think that experience helps once you get onto this course?
Oh, for sure. You know, like I've never actually noticed until lately, I guess, that, you know, horses getting onto the inner track for the very first time, like just how hard it is for some of them to navigate those tight turns. And you have to remind yourself, like Jeff and I have been here since, Jesus, like 1997, 1998. That was our standardbred track. Yeah. So, you know, you're like, okay, right, these are going to be tighter turns. And some horses take to it and some horses don't. But Pat's Holiday is where I'm going because, you know what, the first lifetime start for this horse was on the inner. And I'm going to say, if it's your first lifetime start and you're on the inner, and at the time, hold on, let me just confirm, at the time, you're a 2-year-old and you can handle those tight turns, like that would be my biggest nightmare, is to, like, you know, sending a 2-year-old out on that and be like, oh geez, because he could just get carried out super wide. You know, you're asking him to do something he never has to do in the morning because he never has to go on the tight turns to train in the morning. So he's shown me, or at least she's shown me, that she can handle the tight turns. So I'll use her over the 3 Reload A. And you get the added ground here today. Now I did put added ground with a question mark, but like you were saying, maybe a bit of a premature move.
I think Davey was stuck because the horse had to post 10 at 10 on that day. And
what are you going to do?
He's on the parking lot, right? And he had to pull the trigger a little bit earlier than he wanted to. What's interesting is this horse was scheduled to compete on July the 10th. And remember, we had that rainstorm just prior to our show starting that came off, and they scratched this horse. So I think they really like this horse on the grass.
Well, obviously, it's a better horse on the lawn. Yeah, they didn't want to waste a race on the main track.
Plays. The number 3 is the order of the day when it comes to our plays of the day. I don't know why we like so many 3s today, but here we go. And here are 3 3s and a 2.
I know, and you know what? When you see Jeff's, he's got 3s too, but they're not the same. Yeah. So I've got Addendum as a win prospect in the 2nd. My repeat threat is Haley's Honor in the 3rd. Perfect Girl is the key for the 4th race, and then Ain't No Girly Girl's my price play. But watch the board on that one in race number 5.
Okay, here's a look at my place. I got Addendum, so I'm with you on that one. Perfect Girl, I'm with you on that one. But here's where we differ a little bit. So Moving to the Country, that's my price play coming up in race number 6. I like the job that Darwin does. I think the horse could be in a really nice spot.
Is this one going to have the sunglasses on to come over?
Listen, they're winning with the shades on, so I hope so. And then my watch list horse is Reload A because that's a good turf run last time out. In terms of the authors and the writers, we've got Addendum, that's Ron's play of the day. Perfect Girls, we see that. And you know what? In race number 5, our Woodbine TV prod says enough of the chalk. Let's go with Elisa. Let's go with Ain't No Girly Girl. Coming up in race number 5 of the day. Clocker time. We have one of those to pass along as well. And it's just one. Traditionally, you know, we get 2 on the weekends, especially when it comes to the 2-year-olds. That's when we really like having Ernie's inputs. And there's a lot of nice 2-year-olds on Saturday's card.
Oh my gosh, Saturday's card is good.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, that's, you know, there's so many different options on Saturday's card, and there's some beautiful pedigrees.
There is, yeah. Starship Jubilee's got her 2nd full racing, so I can't wait to see that. So Him to Her for conditioner Bob Tiller has been improving, and hopefully this work will put Him to Her in the winner's circle. The work that they're talking about was July the 16th and 47-1, getting ready for this engagement. And Sophia Vives will guide that one for the Hall of Famer, that being one Robert Tiller. And they're going to team up with the Go-Kart and Mozart's coming up a little bit later on this weekend.
He's had another good year.
Always. You know? Always.
Great.
You know, and does well with a variety of different types of horses
I know.
too. You know, it doesn't seem to matter. I mean, how good is that? Is it one more brew?
Yeah, that's a nice
3
one.
for 3 off
very,
the claim,
very nice.
You know,
yeah, I saw him walking around with some claim slips the other day too. So
he's
you
doing
know,
some shopping.
he's doing some shopping.
Well, that's the problem. When you win some races, the tax man comes knocking on your door. So you have
That's
to
true, and he's lost a few
reinvest.
horses through the claim box as
yeah.
well. So he probably wants to get his clients back in action.
Yep. So horses have already arrived for race number 1. We have some very excited equine athletes because they arrived very early inside the paddock area. This 4 horse has been here for about
Well, he
20
came from
minutes.
Fort Erie, so I guess he was like, might as well.
Preview the opener next.